Hi, my name is Meg Strachan, and I'm the founder and CEO of Dorsey, and I'm here with Design Milk for DMTV Milkshake. I'm in my Los Angeles office. I'm the only one here today, and I'm going to answer a few questions for you that are in my Dorsey baseball hat because I wear this most days, and I couldn't find a bowl in our office. So, first question, what's one lesson from your entrepreneurial journey you'd want all emerging founders to understand from the get-go? I think it would have helped me if I knew that the entrepreneurial journey was really nothing what it looked like on social media. I think that we see all of the marketing, we see the highs, but most of the lows of running a business, you don't have much exposure to. And as you're building a company and you're seeing all these other companies around you that seem to be doing so well, it can be really hard to tune that out and to focus just on what you're building. Most people aren't talking about the sleepless nights or the financial pressure. Most people aren't discussing, partly because you can't as an entrepreneur. It's difficult to put yourself out there. It's very difficult to be vulnerable. But there's so much that's happening. There's such a weight that most entrepreneurs are carrying that they're not really talking about. So if I would have known what the pressure was going to feel like, or frankly, how lonely the journey was going to be, and it's always lonely, that part doesn't really get easier, I think I would have felt that I was in good company. And I've had Dorsey I started the business 5 years ago. This is our 5th year in business. And every year is really different. Every year there's a new set of challenges and a new set of opportunities. And the version of you that ran your business last year isn't the version that your company will need in the upcoming year. So it's just really important to, I think, enjoy where you are in your business while you're there, and know that even when you think you've hit a point where your business is going to coast for a little bit, it doesn't really ever work that way. There's always something that comes up, something that knocks you slightly off path, something that makes your job harder in that moment than you thought it was going to be. And just know that that's the case for every single person who starts a company or starts a brand of any kind. And it's a very lonely journey, but you're not really on your own through it. There's so many entrepreneurs who are going through the exact same thing. What's your favorite piece from the collection? That's such a hard question. I don't know if I have a favorite piece, but I can tell you that I've been wearing and changing my wedding ring. This is actually not my wedding ring, but I change my rings every single day. To me, the symbol that a ring what it means to, and what the symbol of wearing a wedding ring means is really important to me. But the ring itself I've never wanted it to be the exact same ring. So I change my rings every single day. I have a collection that I've started over the last few years. They're, of course, all Dorsey rings, but I actually learned this from my grandmother, Dorsey, which is who my company is named after. She was married for 73 years to my grandfather, Howard, and she had a wedding ring, but she was always changing her rings. And some days she wouldn't wear any ring at all. And I always loved that. I thought that it was very modern, and I thought it was interesting that she would buy rings for herself usually she kept her rings in a bowl by her sink, and after she got dressed, she would choose the ring that she was going to wear. And some of them were expensive and some of them were not expensive at all. But I have always really loved this idea that the symbol of wearing a ring is really meaningful to a lot of people, and for many different reasons, not just being married or being engaged. I think that jewelry is very meaningful and is generally passed down, and there's always a story behind the jewelry that people wear. It's usually the first question I ask somebody when I meet them if they have an amazing piece of jewelry on is, what's the story? And there's always a story. But the story behind why I changed my rings is really that my grandmother, Dorsey, who my company is named after, always changed her rings, and I really learned it from her. So I think my favorite pieces are probably our rings right now because they're new to the collection, and I've had so much fun bringing them to life. The next question is, why do you think you were able to spot this gap in the market when others weren't? The gap in the lab-grown jewelry market, when I first started my company 4 years ago, we're in our 5th year in business, really the consumer didn't know what lab-grown jewelry was or what lab-grown stones were, and there was a lot of concern that a lab-grown diamond wasn't a real diamond, when in fact it is. And most people still to this day, when they think about lab-grown jewelry or when we hear about lab-grown jewelry, they're speaking to the bridal market. And when I started my company, I was already married, and I didn't have any interest at that time in the bridal market. I was looking for beautiful tennis bracelets and Riviera necklaces and archive feeling pieces with design and craftsmanship from the 20s and 30s and 40s, and they were very difficult to find. So my grandmother was a jewelry collector, and she had fine jewelry and costume jewelry, and I could never find the types of pieces that she gave to me. And that's really why I decided to start Dorsey, because I saw a gap in the market for a product that I really wanted to find and wear, which is, I think, how so many companies are started. I don't have a background in jewelry. I am self-taught in the business, and the diamond business is a very specific type of business. I'm so happy that I decided to go for it. I was very intimidated when I first started the company, but I think probably one of the most amazing things of starting the business was that when you start a company, you think there's a gap, but you don't know. And it's not really until you put yourself out there and start your company that you start to get the feedback from customers that they felt the gap too. So it's been really rewarding, and it's been really fun to build this business, partly because my background isn't in jewelry. So the way that I've gone about things and the questions I've asked or the things I've wanted to do, so many people told me they didn't make sense, but for the consumer, they do make sense. And the lab-grown jewelry market is really just getting started. So thank you so much for having me design Milk. It was great to hang out with all of you.